the psychology of people who climb tall building walls without fear. Have you ever witnessed them? They are the ghosts of the vertical world, the silent and almost unbelievable figures who move with a spider-like grace up the sheer glass and steel faces of our modern-day mountains. They are the urban climbers, the buildering enthusiasts, the daredevils who have, for some inexplicable reason, chosen to turn the sterile and predictable architecture of our cities into their own personal and life-or-death playground. You see the videos, the small, solitary figure ascending a skyscraper, 1,000 feet of empty air between them and the hard, unforgiving concrete below. And you, a citizen of a world that has elevated comfort, safety, and the meticulous avoidance of all unnecessary risk to the level of a sacred duty, cannot help but ask a single profound and deeply unsettling question. Why? You look at this spectacle of voluntary danger and you diagnose it with the easy, pre-packaged labels our culture provides. They're just adrenaline junkies. They have a death wish. They're attention seekers. You see their obsession as a form of madness, a pathological and deeply irrational rejection of the good, safe, and comfortable life that the rest of us are so desperately trying to build. You see their dance with the void as a meaningless and ultimately selfish game, a flirtation with oblivion for the sake of a fleeting and pointless thrill. But what if you are wrong? What if their love of the wall is not a flight from life, but a deep and instinctual dive into the very heart of it? What if their embrace of the risk is not a sign of their madness, but of a profound and terrifying form of sanity? What if they are not the ones who are running from reality, but are, in fact, the only ones who have truly found it? The brutal and uncomfortable truth is that the person who climbs tall building walls without fear is not a thrill seeker. They are a pilgrim. They are a philosopher of the urban void. And their journey up the wall is not a sport. It is a profound and sacred form of psychological and spiritual alchemy, a process in which the raw, chaotic, and often terrifying material of their own ordinary self is transmuted into something hard, something beautiful, something free. And in their strange, silent, and deeply misunderstood obsession lies a secret and powerful teaching for us all. A forgotten map that leads out of the flat, comfortable, and deeply soul-crushing prison of the modern world. To understand the psychology of the person who seeks the heights, you must first diagnose the deep, hidden sickness of the world they are so desperately trying to escape. We are living in an age of profound and unprecedented disembodiment. We have become a civilization of ghosts. Our lives are increasingly lived not in the real, tangible, and often difficult world of matter, but in the clean, frictionless, and ultimately illusory world of the screen. We are no longer farmers or craftsmen or warriors, engaged in a direct and often brutal dialogue with the physical world. We are information workers, knowledge managers, digital nomads. We are minds, floating in a sea of abstract data. Our bodies have become little more than inconvenient and often painful vehicles for carrying our heads to the next meeting. This is a profound and devastating form of alienation. We have, as the great depth psychologists like Carl Jung would argue, lost our connection to the phonic, to the earthy, the instinctual, the primal, the animalistic parts of our own nature. We are living a one-sided life, a life of the disembodied intellect, and we are starving for the nourishment of the real. This is the source of the strange and pervasive sense of unreality, of anxiety, of a quiet and desperate meaninglessness that haunts the modern soul. We feel ungrounded because we are ungrounded. We have lost our connection to the earth, both the earth beneath our feet and the earth within our own forgotten bodies. We are a kite that has had its string cut, and we are drifting aimlessly and anxiously in the thin and empty air of our own abstract and disembodied minds. The person who is drawn to the heights is the person who has, on a deep and often unconscious level, felt this sickness most acutely. Their journey to the top of the skyscraper is not a flight from the ground. It is a desperate and instinctual attempt to find it again. It is a form of self-prescribed medicine, a psychological and spiritual recalibration of the most profound and radical kind. The primary medicine that the heights provide is a single, powerful, and utterly transformative ingredient: consequence. In our modern, cushioned, and safety-obsessed world, we have systematically engineered consequence out of our lives. We have our seatbelts, our insurance policies, our trigger warnings. We live in a world of second chances, of safety nets, of do-overs. This is, in many ways, a wonderful thing. But it has come at a terrible and almost entirely unexamined cost. It has made us careless. It has made us sloppy. It has made us, on a deep and fundamental level, unreal. The world of the heights is the absolute and terrifying antithesis of this. On the sheer face of a building, there are no safety nets. There are no second chances. There is only the raw, absolute, and unforgiving law of gravity. Every move you make, every decision, has a direct, immediate, and potentially final consequence. To enter this world is to enter a state of profound and radical presence. It is a form of enforced mindfulness that is more powerful and more effective than 1,000 hours on a meditation cushion. On the edge of the building, your mind does not have the luxury of its usual neurotic chatter. The worries about the past, the anxieties about the future, the endless and trivial concerns of the ego, all of this is burned away in the white-hot intensity of the present moment. There is only the steel. There is only the wind. There is only the void. And in that space, for the first time, you are forced to be utterly and completely here. This is the great and paradoxical secret of the climber's joy. It is not a joy that is found in the absence of fear, but in the perfect and total absorption of it. It is the joy of a mind that has, for a fleeting and glorious moment, been liberated from itself. It has been liberated from the prison of its own petty and self-obsessed concerns, and it has been merged with the vast, silent, and sacred reality of the present moment. The feeling of being most alive on the building wall is the feeling of a consciousness that has been stripped of everything that is not essential, everything that is not true, everything that is not now. This is the experience of being truly and profoundly grounded. It is a grounding that is not found in the safety of the flat earth, but in the terrifying and absolute reality of the vertical one. The person who has touched this state of being, who has felt the sublime and terrifying peace of a mind that has been completely and totally unified with its own present moment experience, will often find the safe and grounded world of everyday life to be a pale, dreamlike, and profoundly unreal place. And they will be drawn, again and again, to the high places, not because they are addicted to the risk, but because they are addicted to the profound and life-altering reality that the risk provides. We have now reached the deepest and most profound layer of the climber's psychology. Their love of the wall is not just a search for presence, and it is not just a dance with fear. It is a profound and life-affirming expression of what the great philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche called the will to power. For Nietzsche, the fundamental driving force of all noble and life-affirming existence is not the pursuit of happiness, but the will to grow, to expand, to overcome resistance, to become more than one is. For this kind of soul, a life without struggle, a life of easy and effortless comfort, is not a blessing. It is a curse. It is a form of living death. It is the resistance, the difficulty, the struggle that is the very source of all strength, all wisdom, and all genuine, hard-won joy. The building wall is the perfect and most literal embodiment of this philosophy. It is a pure and utterly indifferent form of resistance. It is a question that is being asked of the climber, a question that is posed not in words, but in the unforgiving language of gravity and steel. And the question is this: are you strong enough? Are you skilled enough? Do you have the will to overcome me? The act of climbing is the climber's answer. It is a triumphant and joyful yes to this question. It is the act of pitting one's own, small and finite will against the vast and seemingly infinite will of the skyscraper. And in that struggle of discovering the true and often terrifying extent of one's own power, each move is an act of self-overcoming. Each floor is a small and hard one, victory in the great and eternal war against one's own limitations. This is the source of the climber's strange and beautiful smile in the face of their own immense and grinding effort. It is not the placid, empty smile of the happy person. It is the fierce, joyful, and deeply satisfied smile of the warrior. It is the smile of the person who has found a form of happiness that is not to be found in the valley of comfort, but only on the high, cold, and unforgiving peaks of their own self-created challenge. This is the practice of amor fati, the love of one's fate, in its most literal and embodied form. The climber does not just accept the danger of the wall. They love it. They seek it out. They know that the danger is not an obstacle to their journey. It is the journey itself. And in this love of the hard, in this joyful embrace of the struggle, they have found a key to a form of human flourishing that is almost entirely lost to our comfort-obsessed world. What then can we learn from these strange and often misunderstood figures? These people who have chosen the barren and terrifying world of the vertical for their cathedral? They are not just athletes. They are not just adrenaline junkies. They are a mirror. They are a profound and uncomfortable reflection of the deep and often desperate spiritual poverty of our own flat and comfortable world. The path of the climber is the path of the vertical warrior. It is the path of the person who has, either through instinct or through a conscious philosophical choice, understood that a life without a great and difficult challenge is not a life at all. The journey for the rest of us, for the ones who are living in the comfortable and deeply soul-crushing valleys of modern life, is to have the immense courage to ask ourselves what we are so afraid of. What great and terrifying mountains are we refusing to climb in our own personal and professional lives? What profound and life-altering strengths are we allowing to atrophy simply for the sake of a little bit of comfort, a little bit of safety? The person who climbs tall building walls without fear has given us a great and terrible gift. They have shown us the possibility of a different kind of freedom, a freedom that is not found in the endless and exhausting pursuit of a life without resistance, but in the courageous and joyful embrace of it. They have shown us that the ultimate form of happiness is not to be found in a state of perpetual ease, but in the deep and satisfying exhaustion that comes from having given your absolute all in the service of a difficult and worthy goal. And they have shown us that the ultimate purpose of our lives is not to arrive at a safe and comfortable destination, but to have the immense and terrifying courage to choose a wall that is worthy of our own and the world's deepest and most beautiful struggle.